Funny news with Mr. Funny Man Matt Walsh. Theocratic fascist best-selling children's author, and apparently he's words that for some reason cancel culture probably I get in trouble if I say on my stream. He got hacked. His Twitter account got hacked the other day, and he was tweeting funny things. Nothing much really came of it. It seems like it was just a back-end security flaw, or possibly somebody who had some access to his phone number doing something fudgy in the background. It's really hard to say. However, some interesting stuff has come about from it. First of all, this is co-CEO of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring. You may be aware Matt Walsh had his Twitter account hacked last night. What you may not know is that the attack went well beyond Twitter. The hackers managed to gain access to, well, everything including 20 years of Matt's emails. Again, nothing came of this. I'm sorry, I know. You drama hounds, but sorry. At the very least, we don't know that anything came of it outside of a couple of comedy tweets. What scandalous information will the hackers find in Matt's email? I do not know. I'm sure I said things in my 20s that I wouldn't feel too great having aired publicly. What will Daily Wire's response be to things 20-year-old Matt may have said? #lol. I do think it's funny that essentially Matt Walsh's boss immediately raced for preempted damage control with the, okay, there might be some bad stuff there, but we're ready for it. You know, because it seems like nothing's coming of it, but it is like in Jeremy's mind, it's like, oh shit, there's some pedo shit in there, isn't there? You know, or whatever else. Probably like extremely racist shit, I would imagine. So it goes on for a bit, but then there's this tweet right here, okay? First, Matt Walsh was, what's this? Demonetized on YouTube for violating some opaque, arbitrarily applied standard or another relating to speaking the biological truth about Dylan Mulvaney. That's just a point in the YouTube TOS. It says you have to not speak the biological truth about Dylan Mulvaney. That's just, it's right there. Anyone could read it. This thread goes on for a while, and it's really boring. It's basically just like the standard. We're the victims, even though we have hundreds of millions of dollars to spend on fighting a culture war and are backed by billionaires on every level, and we work directly with politicians. We're the victims, blah, blah. It's like, seriously, it's actually seriously really boring. But it has led to something substantial. Matt Walsh, I announced during my speech tonight, because the hack on his Twitter happened while he was speaking at a college campus, so I guess he would have found out like right as he was done. Maybe somebody did like the George Bush 9/11 whisper to him. I don't know. YouTube has demonetized my show and threatened to ban us if we don't respect the pronouns of trans people. So this is almost certainly a lie. If not respecting the pronouns of trans people was a demonetizable and bannable offense on YouTube, every single conservative channel would be gone. All of them. So obviously that's not the thing that he's being hit with. It's probably the overt, insane, like disgusting, openly genocidal and violent rhetoric towards trans people. The idea that it's just pronouns is obviously a lie. Where it actually is, I don't know. Does YouTube enforce their standards consistently? No. If they did, there wouldn't be conservatives on the platform. I'd rather take my show off YouTube than cooperate with that nonsense. So I am. Starting Monday, you can find my show free for everyone on Daily Wire. We'll post it here to Twitter too, and on every other platform where you get your podcasts. I'm not going to forfeit my integrity for the sake of YouTube ad revenue, but I'm also not going to go off to the hinterlands somewhere and languish in obscurity. We're going to make the show bigger and more accessible on even more platforms. That's how we're responding. I have a couple of thoughts on this. For one, I don't actually think that most of Matt Walsh's influence and power comes from YouTube. It's not 2017 anymore, right? The culture war, like Daily Wire engagement is not coming from viral YouTube clips. It comes from kind of like a plurality of sources. A lot of it is from Twitter, honestly, which he obviously is not getting banned from and never will because Elon Musk is the owner. So yeah, a lot of stuff gets clipped on Twitter. I don't actually think his absence from YouTube, assuming he follows through on it, will affect him that much, you know? Somebody pointed out that Steven Crowder, the leaked contract that he batted about with the Daily Wire, included a clause that if he got demonetized from YouTube, he would experience like a significant reduction in pay. I doubt that's really the case for Matt Walsh, because Matt Walsh is like broadly loud. Whereas, as I understand it, Steven Crowder is primarily on YouTube, right? I think Steven Crowder is like a YouTube guy. I don't see Steven Crowder on YouTube clips, on TikTok, even on Twitter. He's really not that influential. Matt Walsh, yeah, he's more entrenched. He's more broadly available. So will his absence from YouTube affect things much? I don't think it will at all, actually. Not even a little. However, I've talked so much about over-consolidation from the right. And one point, is that even if it won't affect much for people like us, Matt Walsh not being on YouTube might mean, hey, some people who would otherwise sink into the far right don't. And that's nice. It can still have a marginal positive effect. I certainly don't think it'll have a negative effect. I don't think this is a loss for us. I just think it's an insignificant gain. Additionally, I hope it signals, and how do I put this? An the persistent, arrogant belief that a lot of right-wingers have that they don't need mainstream media to thrive. You've seen this a couple of times before. This oh yeah, go deplatform us. It'll make us stronger, which is cope and it's reverse psychology. But I hope maybe a disregard for the influence of YouTube could cause left sources on YouTube to grow even stronger. And as I understand it, the left, and by the left I don't mean BreadTube, which is dead. I mean not the far right, liberal and left of that. I think they're quite prominent on YouTube. TikTok seems to be more of a battleground. Obviously other sources. He's going to Rumble, and Rumble is a shithole, of course. But you understand what I'm talking about here, right? You understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. It's one less platform for his bite. Hopefully that makes a positive difference for a few people. Somebody gave me a paste bin of the deleted tweets from the time that Matt Walsh was hacked. I'll try to find the most important one, which is the one that had the N-word in it. Oh, this one's important too. The one where he said, I ain't a gangsta. I'm a sassy shooter. So he that one is also important, I think, for the record. I can't say this one out loud. Sorry, guys. Laverne Spicer's response. Are they on top? Laverne Spicer, who's the black woman who's very dumb and a conservative congressional candidate, basically said haha, me too, in response to this, which was very funny. Laverne here. Did she not delete those tweets? So in response to the I ain't a gangsta, I'm a sassy shooter, we have the classic, what up, thug? What up, gangsta? I think that's how black people talk. I think I'm nailing AAVE right now. Very funny. Why did she play along Lamau? I have several theories. That N-word still feels racist. Oh, Laverne Spicer does not have the N-word pass. I'm taking it from her. I'm doing the Biden, the you ain't black. The evidence to support medicalized gender transitions in adolescence is worryingly weak. I don't think I've gone over this specific article, but I think we've gone over this subject quite a few times before. There are literally dozens of articles on the effects of hormone therapy on adults and on young people. And every time a new study comes out that in any way tries to find out more about the effect it has in young people, the results are positive. And then conservatives and, quote unquote centrists step in and they're yeah, well, actually, here's one problem with this study. And it's happened so many times now. It's happened so many times. They always say this, and oftentimes they'll just openly ignore studies. This article literally has a title line called "Gender Agenda." If conservatives are so concerned with medically debunking the viability of hormone therapy on adolescents, why don't they fund and produce any study that shows it's not effective? If we're going by evidence-based arguments here, following the evidence is the pro-trans position at the moment. Maybe change the available evidence? Peterson posted this recently. It's always something. These losers, these haters, they just don't want you to be a gigapassoid when you're 23. That's what they want. Results of long-term adult transgender populations failed to demonstrate convincing improvements in mental health. And some adult transgender populations? What? We have an enormous amount of evidence suggesting that trans-affirming therapy is beneficial for adult trans people. See, this is what I mean. This is how you know they're bullshitting. They can't they overstep and they're like, well, actually, the evidence doesn't show anything. It's like, well, no, obviously, yeah, just make it up, yeah. Like they could try to say something like, okay, we know that it works for adults. That would be a good way of selling the argument, but they can't do it because they want you dead. The most effective way they could sell the argument would be going, the evidence indicates that transgender healthcare has enormously positive effects on adults. But they can't do that because they don't even want to acknowledge that. They don't even want to cede that ground. They have to pretend like that there's like this small body of largely neutral or agnostic or unavailable information, and there's nothing past that. Yeah, they can't make these concessions. I don't think I want to read and respond to an entire academic medical article right now, though. Maybe we can do it in the future.